Seniors coming up next, qualifying heat B versus E.
And watch out for that name starting right alongside Aston Sharp, James Anagnostiadis, who has been absolutely spectacular so far in the racing.
He certainly has. Engines fire up then, drivers make their way onto the track. Let's take you through that full starting lineup then for qualifying heat B versus E. For the senior category. Thomas Pradir and Thibaut Ramekers on row number 1. James Anagnostiadis and Aston Sharp on row 2. Brand new tyres for Sharp. Vladimir Ivanikov and Marco Gas go from row 3. They'll have Noah Wolf and Toby Gale on row 4. Nicolo Kuman, also with a brand new set, goes alongside Mariano Lopez on row number 5. Boris Lyson and Kenneth Fairhand go from row 6. They'll have Marcus Shilkunis and Simon Bulbarella on row number 7. Shilkunis has deployed fresh tyres on the left-hand side. Francois Cadal, Inya Rustad, Chiara Batig and Luke Corner round out the first half of the field. All of them brand new tyres.
Following drivers then who pretty much all of which have deployed new rubber. Lewis Francis and Zhao Zhizhen on row number 10. 11 includes Scott Marsh, who needs a good one after a DNF earlier on. He's alongside Clovis Nograde on row 11. 12 is Oscar Gallen alongside Aaron Garcia, and then from 13, Ella Hakkinen and Vanessa Schilkenator. 14, Clara Kowalczyk and Sanya B. Row number 15 is Arif Rekel, all alone because we don't have David Trefilov. 16 is Nawin Anatipaton, needing good results after DNFs. He's alongside Christian Moziman. 17 looks like Maximo Tobagino alongside Mathis Humer of France. And then rounding out your grid, we turn our attentions back to our groups of seniors. It's Senna Moner from P35.
Well, for these drivers now, we are getting into that business end of the racing here. For the seniors, they have got one more round of qualifying heats to go after this one for all the groups apart from the likes of, well, no, actually all of them have got another race to go actually after this one. Yeah, still, this is the tense moment now for them because, yeah, their final real chance to get some points on the board now, maximum of 250 points so they can collect in this. And let's see how it will all transpire. Here we go, out of the final corner, all betting squeezed out of the formation there. We are going racing though, however. It's a good start for the inside line. Look at that from Pradir, Anagnostiadis, Ivanikov and Wolf. 1, 2, 3 and 4 immediately at the start of that race. Ramekers got caught absolutely sleeping at the start there and slots down in P5.
Theme of the weekend so far then, the track tightens up between 2 and 3. Drivers getting caught out. James Anagnostiadis immediately on the charge, takes the race lead. Noah Wolf there, P2 currently. He's telling around his Birol teammate of Vladimir Ivanikov. Watch how these two maybe try and work together to get past the KR Prema Mercedes driver of James Anagnostiadis. Last year, he was P2 at the FIA World Championships in juniors. This year, within the senior grid, I wouldn't count him out to maybe one-up that result. This is going to be a tough one. He's got big names around him, one of which is Timo Ramekers, who's heading down the 185-metre straight, currently being challenged by Thomas Pradir. Behind Pradir then has dropped Aston Sharp. 2 places lost for Sharp in the early stages, but it's looking down the inside at turns 4 and 5 at the Tony Kart. Doesn't quite manage to pull it off.
No, indeed. And I saw there the exit speed from Ramekers on Peschel as he gets now sent by Aston Sharp. Nicolo Kaman goes through, Marco Gas and Boris Lyson, I think, also managed to squeeze in there as well. And that is, well, Pradir down to 9th place now. Not the start he would have wanted at all. And yeah, from the front row, the pole sitter, that is, yeah, not a great place to be right now, albeit Anagnostiadis at the front here. It's going to be taking the lead of the intermediate classifications. Once again, holding on to it with 194 points to his name. Pradir, though, will still have 154. That may help him out just that little bit more, but Pradir going backwards as Marcus Shilkunis now steps through with a bold move through the chicane.
Yeah, that was a big send then by Shilkunis, who competed last year in the FIA World Championships. Did get into the final on the Sunday, but didn't maybe have the race he would have wanted to. Eyes back on the front, because who is knocking on the door of Noah Wolf? It's Thibaut Ramekers. Ramekers looks like he has caught up a little bit to that VAR branded Birol machinery. There's another one of the Birrells out there. Vladimir Ivanikov has got the Charles Leclerc kart hot on his tails. They switch positions now through the final corner of turn number 14. Yes, they have. So Sharp past the driver of Vladimir Ivanikov. These two then watched him maybe chase up to the back of Thibaut Ramekers. Ramekers, saying his name through 4 and 5, is absolutely starting to have a look at Noah Wolf and maybe throw into the mix that Ramekers could be helped slightly here into turn number 7, where the move is absolutely on. Is it though? Is Wolf going to try and hang it? No, he's done it. Ramekers has pulled that one off, and I'd maybe say it's helped slightly by, look at the height difference between these two drivers. In OK Racing, of course, the toe's not major because he hit the limiter quite early on that machinery, but it is going to come into play when that height difference is as major as that, as now Noah loses another position, this time though to Aston Sharp.
Which will be benefited by, of course, those fresh tyres. But yeah, indeed. I mean, the one thing you've got to take away, though, is that there is a minimum weight, of course, this one. And despite the height difference, Ramekers is the same class and same weight as Wolf when it comes to it at the end of it. But, you know, right now it is still a case of, yeah, like say, that height, he doesn't need to tuck in as much. The air kind of just goes over the top of him.
It's also the case, you know, those shorter drivers in dry conditions are benefited, as we've got another move down the inside, benefited by that lower centre of gravity. They're not shifting too much weight around different parts of the kart, which then ends up sort of chewing away at the tyres. It's maybe something that could play into the hands of Thibaut Ramekers. Aston Sharp as well, who is a bit of a smaller driver. There he is then, arriving on your screen once more, the number 5, the Premier driver of James Anagnostiadis, out there in the front once again, 6/10 clear of Thibaut Ramekers. But the pace between those two drivers, Thibaut is faster.
Oh yes, and Thibaut showcasing that speed that what he's got down in towards this one. And Ramekers will continue to push here. The gap still holding at 0.6 of a second. Back down the inside, Marcus Schilkunas on the charge, has got past Leisen and up into 6th place now. That's a good run for him. Can he continue that trend through the field? Because Vladimir Ivanikov will be the next target, and that's not too far up the road. Remember, Schilkunas has got those fresh tyres on board, the same as Nicolo Coman, who's just behind as well. Both of them have got past Boris Leisen also. Fresh tyres coming into play now here, Nicole. They're starting to make a dent in the field.
Absolutely is, especially as we progress into the race and the tyres start to get hotter and hotter. They start to get stressed through turns 1, 2 and 3, peak in temperature here at turns 4 and 5, then over the crest towards turn number 6. Current air temperature for these drivers, 21 degrees out there, matched on what we had yesterday. So actually really similar track conditions, air conditions, so maybe these drivers haven't had to focus on changing the karts at all, really. I think they're probably benefited by that, but I'm not sure if that's going to come into play tomorrow, because the forecast is saying to me that we could be on for some wet weather like we had in 2024. Now though, dry into turn number 14, where Nicholas Coman is trying to challenge the Forza driver on a charge for now 2 places gained. He's really trying to hunt down away past Vladimir Ivanikov. Side by side they go, almost 3 abreast. Ivanikov going over the curb at turn number 3, but does manage to get back onto the tarmac. Loses positions, however, to the 2 drivers ahead. Yeah,
3 wide into that chicane is no bueno in my mind, but and it didn't work out there at all for them, as like you say, Ivanikov having to take off the track. Yes, indeed, down the inside, Chiara Batig making her way through the field. Now this is the fresh tyres coming into play here. As we were saying, remember all these drivers at the back of the grid are now starting to really try and push themselves up this order. They need to get some points on the board to get into that top 72.
Yeah, absolutely. And Batig, you know, she's had 2 DNFs so far this weekend. That's going to throw a major spanner in the works for the driver who is representing Red Bull for its first time for her in an FIA event. So big moments, but it's not quite gone her way so far this weekend. Moves still continuing to go on in that hotspot of 4 and 5. That's one of the KRs getting all involved. And the driver as well very much in the mix as Ella Häkkinen now goes fastest. Häkkinen, another driver in the field like Chiara Batig, who's had multiple DNFs. More results further back down in the field as to deployed new tyre to try and salvage some kind of result, but I think it could be too little too late for both of those drivers.
Now, we're just not too sure yet on those top runners, but we can tell you about the top 10 though. In that intermediate classification, Anagnosiadis from Pradir, Ramekers, Drummond and Kelleher are the top 5 at the moment, as once again changing places side by side there, but no lines for Zhao Zizhen on Marco Gast. They stay line astern there as the rest of your top 10, Wolf, Gast, Ivanikov, Pataro and Cochet. Still those top 10 there. Eyes on the rest of the field here, still on your screen. Marco Gast holding off the charge from Zhao Zizhen. Scott Marsh just there behind. He had the retirement earlier on, of course, if you remember. Himself on this one, needing to keep those good results on his screen. This one, though, Anagnosiadis and Ramekers gap down to less than 0.4 of a second now. Time very quickly running out as a smattering of investigation flags going out. One to the 80 and the 71. Zhao Zizhen is one of those drivers. The 80 machine is Toby Gale under investigation, so I'll have to keep a close eye on that one. Ramekers, though, ever so slightly in the coal, corner by corner, is eating away at Anagnosiadis' lead.
Absolutely is. I'd say that gap between those two drivers in 1 and 2 is starting to evaporate now in this stage of the race. James needs to be careful here, because look at Thibaut. He's absolutely there, closing in corner by corner. Turns 9, turns 10. James, I think, is maybe a little bit rattled here, needs to try and manage that gap through 12, where they are right now. Now they're at 13 and on that drive down the hill towards turn number 14. Foot in early on that power to climb back up the hill onto that 185-metre straight. What's the gap between those two drivers now? Oh, Anthony, it's reducing because Thibaut is eating away at it. Like you said, just under 0.4. It's 0.324. Thibaut, I would say, is probably driving around in that VDK Kart Republic, getting a little bit excited now.
I suspect so, but as he sets the fastest lap of the race, 49.921, very quick pace actually at this stage. I don't think he's going to go for the move, however. He is closing in. He's doing a brilliant job of doing it. But with the time they've got left, they've got one more lap to go. It's just, I think he's like, right, okay, I can catch up. We know that. Now let me sit back, I'll hold on to second.
I would say James has probably been signalled here as well, because he's just gone purple through sector number 2. So he is on the response to that reduction in gap. And his last lap was actually the best lap, has gone fastest. So smart driving by the Prana there. I think he's probably looked behind him, seen Thibaut, probably seen his mechanic and said, you know what, I need to turn something up a little bit here because that gap is slowly starting to fall short. James then, a couple more corners left to go. Turn number 7 perfected. There they go through turn number 8. Now into 9, barreling loads of speed into this part of the circuit where they go downhill. Big elevation changes round this track. Christian Stad, I would say, is a fantastic one. Ticking the boxes once more, though, James Anagnosiadis through turn number 14, still trailing around Thibaut Ramekers. We'll see the checkered flag. Another heat win under his belt.
Oh, yes, indeed. That will be looking very nice for James Anagnosiadis, who puffs out a nice big up a lot of smoke there out the exhaust. I thought his engine had gone then at the end of the race, but no, he's still going. Ramekers finishing in second ahead of Aston Sharp. Noah Wolf from Marcos Shilkunis, Nicolo Command, Boris Lysen, Chiara Batigue eighth from Tom Pradir, Francois Cadal rounding out the top 10. Biggest mover in that race. You have to turn your attention once again to Senna Munir. VDK 13 places gained. I am looking forward to see if Senna has done enough after that terrible qualifying to get into those superheats tomorrow.
Yeah, Senna then earlier on in the weekend did not even complete a full qualifying session. Pulled it in early, as did David Trefilov actually, who was missing from this particular grid. But Senna trying to respond, trying to pull things back together. Job well done once more though for James Anagnosiadis. It's another heat win. Thibaut Rameka's second, like you said, Anthony. Aston Sharp shortly behind in P3. Remainder of your top 5 looks like Noah Wolff and Marcus Schilkunas. Schilkunas on an 8th place charge through that qualifying heat.
Indeed, there's the rest of your results. Top 10 we've gone over. Francis from Ivanikov, Gars from Marsh, Zhao from Hakkinen, then the likes of Nugarade, Toby Gale, Mariano Lopez, Oscar Gallen, Aaron Garcia, Senabinair from Clark Kowalczyk, Simon Bulbarella from Calais Fairhand, Luke Cornder